Good evening. How are you? So, are you nervous? Well, there's cause to be, because nobody seems to know. Although in the final moments, as we approach the election, there are some polls indicating that, the vectors are going in our direction. Does that mean we win? We're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait to know. But if you go door to door, there is a feeling. Now, is that informed by your support of Kamala, for your hope for Kamala, for your distaste for Trump? Well, it's probably all of the above. But I've been through enough elections that I feel it. Now, could it be false? Of course, but there it is. The New York Times and Siena College poll today gives a slight edge to Kamala Harris. And we're talking about Nevada, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Georgia. So we're going to have to wait and see. But it's always good to be the one moving upward in these elections. And I've been watching, and a week or so ago, it seemed to me that Trump was inching by 1/10 of a point in his direction. And this last week had to be a kind of political suicide for any other candidate. I say that because Trump seems to defy the normal rules. And that's because there's an ugliness present in America, a fear, a distaste, an upsettedness with things as they are. But what we notice, whether it's a child or an adult or an individual, is that we want something new, and then when we get it, we resist it. Now, I don't say that we're that irresponsible. I believe that the course of this campaign, and I hope we're going to see it in the ballot box this way, the course of this campaign has to make us more aware, and I think more responsible. It's hard for me to understand, maybe the way I or you make a decision, how there could be undecided this late in the game. But that's the way it is. And I think Kamala says it, and she says, believe it, we will win. And I do believe it. And, I think that, the elections are sometimes a test of the incumbent, okay? But we don't exactly have that this time. They try to implant things about Biden that I'm not sure were objectionable. And I'm sure others may be. But she was vice president, not president, and she will have a different kind of administration. And I don't say this by way of criticism of Biden. It is the failure of Trump to address the candidate that he has to. And this is a very difficult candidate for him to confront because of his misogyny, his bias, his hate, his racism. And that's become an advantage in a way, because while he wants to do and say things that blow our head up and get him free media, it seems to also be working on him. Years ago, one day after I'd been pounding the heavy bag, I was standing outside and my right arm was bothering me, and I was thinking, could this be a heart attack? And then I thought, no, it was very slight. And I thought it was in the wrong arm. And then I thought my other arm, felt a little funny. And then I realized that as a kid, when I hit a heavy bag, all the power went in the direction where the punch was going. But now it comes back up your arm. That's what Trump doesn't understand. That the fight that he makes to make us delirious with upsettedness, with the frequency of things that get him free media, also have content that get him as well. And so his worst misconduct this past week and his unpredictable conduct, which he does for one reason, I think is affecting the outcome of the race. Also, it takes a while to turn around a big ship in the waters. And what we did was, when I say we supporters helped Kamala and Tim turn the ship in a direction that could lead America. At the same time that Trump was shooting himself in the political foot and encouraged people with guns to shoot others. You know, people he didn't like, a general here, a congresswoman there, the press last night. So this is a campaign not about the incumbent. It's not a poll on the incumbent's success. It's about Trump again, which is why we won in 2020 with Biden. It is, and he's highlighted this, his bigotry, his shit-talking. I'm sure there's a more polite way to say it, but that's what it is. His lies, his slanders, and his callous leadership to the lowest. You know, sometimes in labor discussions you talk about a fight to the bottom. That's him. He has us doing everything but rolling in the mud with him, picking up stray objects and throwing them at each other like a B movie. And so there's a feel in the populace, I think, in the door-to-door. And it's helped in so many directions. Women, of course. Older women especially. And I think it's because women of a certain age know what it took to get treated like a person in this country that talks about freedom but is slow in delivery. I mean, we didn't treat women as persons who could vote until after we dealt with slavery. That says something about a society. Other societies don't have that. So when we look at Trump in this last week, we can say that he told the women, Alito, what Alito had to say, and that is going to elect Kamala. If she's elected, that's going to be one of the key reasons, because he riled up the women of America, and it's become more than a one-day headline, and he's introduced themes of it for lack of imagination in his bigotry and discrimination, and so that's what we have. Also, Trump, he adopts it. I'm responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade, and I'm going to protect women whether they like it or not. Then there are the recent testaments about Republicans who've decided that they have to protect their country, and they can deal with what kind of a party they have once they've done that. And we've heard for years how there were Republicans who did not appreciate Trump as their leader. But because I think of the coercion, you know, we'll run a primary against you, threats, probably dirty news on these people, all the tricks down there in the basement of political practice. That's who Trump is. That's what he's been doing. So, and then women are being encouraged, rightly so this week, to consider the fact that their vote is confidential. Meaning, if they have a numbnut for a husband on these issues, he doesn't have to know how you vote. Now, in our household, I have no doubt that Holly and I are in agreement. But that's not true of all households, and you probably know them. And it's hard to understand why in a relationship with another person, the two wouldn't share what was in their best interest. But there have been some conversations in the papers describing just this impasse between husbands and wives when discussing this election. So where are we really? Where we are on this day before the final vote happens at the ballot box on Tuesday is we have to look at the veil that has fallen from the faces of our institutions, of our media, of our elected officials, of our so-called leaders. That is to say, those who failed us, who failed to use the tools to stop this bastard at the beginning when they could have. They could have done it with impeachment. They could have barred him from running for office. They could have pulled out the stops and supported the prosecution. They could have presented the evidence that the leader of their party was not worthy to lead their party, to be our president, or to be anything except a person in a jail cell. But they didn't do that. So we, the people, have business to do when we win this election. We have to push aside the cowards and the traitors in favor of our own republic and of our democracy. And I think we'll do that. I think what this has done is to educate a vast part of America that didn't appreciate how true it was that there are people above the law. Not just Trump. There's a host of these people. And that's not acceptable in a republic or a democracy. Sure, in an oligarchy, in a dictatorship, yeah, and that's where freedom withers away. But freedom is the sunshine of individual power and of success, not just for the individual who enjoys that freedom, but for the community and nation where that one dwells. This is a country that has welcomed people from the beginning. Before there was a United States, there were people coming here because they were being badly treated elsewhere. They came here for freedom, and Trump represents everything that would compromise and destroy that freedom. And so when we vote tomorrow, we're voting to be free, and we're choosing a form of government that increases the chances that we will be free, and that we'll have the rights we deserve and that we've had and that have been compromised. So that's what I have to say today. After I work the polls, I expect I'll be online sometime tomorrow. It's unpredictable, so I'll deal with it as it is. So thanks for joining me in this cathedral of trees with a barking dog nearby. All the best. Bye-bye.